Welcome back to the Exodus Media Network. Mike, today we're going to talk about another plethora of topics, but in particular, after we wrap this up, I want to make sure that we target our local universities, target our local, man, I'm going to let that one slide. We're going to target our local universities in the region. We're going to target our local universities in the region. Hold on, we got that feedback. All right, it's taken care of. We're going to target University of Cincinnati, Xavier, Miami of Ohio, Louisville, Kentucky, Kentucky State, Central State. And the reason being is our young people don't know anything. They're functioning off emotions. They're functioning outside of the truth. And that's the reason why they run out here every first Tuesday in November and vote for their own destruction. But it's not just the young people. The majority of Black America runs out the first Tuesday in November and votes for their own destruction. In the last election, an increasing amount of suburban white housewives ran out and voted for their own destruction. The question is, how do they come to these conclusions that causes them to run out and vote irresponsibly? Okay? Mm-hmm. If you're voting irresponsibly, there can only be one main reason is you don't have the facts. You're void of the necessary information so that you can make a proper decision prior to voting, an informed decision prior to voting. Right. The reason why we're in the current predicament with inflation, the highest it's ever been, is because millions of people went out and voted the wrong way and for the wrong guy. But let me pause. Not as many people voted for Biden as they are trying to lead us to believe. We know that. I can't go into that, but the facts are there. Right. They cheated. Right. Okay. But that's neither here nor there. In spite of the fact that they cheated, let's talk about the people that we know voted for Biden. Right. Okay? Because I'm not dealing with the cheating. I'm dealing with the uninformed electorate, the people that are going out here uninformed, voting erroneously for the wrong person, for the wrong policies, for the wrong agenda. Now, if you've been watching our episodes, you know we've gone into detail about what's going on and why that's the case. But let me tell you something. I spent a lot of time on the blackboard here today, on the whiteboard here today, the dry erase board, because there's some facts and some information, some numbers that people need to know if we're going to dispel the myth that people are currently being fed. Okay? Okay. The intentional misleading of the electorate is what we have to stop if we're going to change the direction of this country. Okay? Right. First of all, Black Lives Matter, white liberals, Democrats, they have changed and distorted the truth in order to emotionally stimulate and manipulate, in particular, Black people based on race. So they use race, okay? They use race to get Black people to engage. So they'll run out and they will identify someone or something or some party or some group as racist, knowing that that will emotionally stimulate Blacks to react two ways: by running to the ballot box, voting for the Democrats that fed them that lie about race. And secondly, they can get blacks out into the streets rioting, burning down buildings, as they did as it related to George Floyd, okay? All they have to do is show them the same image over and over of some black guy dying at what appears to be the hands of a white guy, okay? So, and it was easy with George Floyd, even though George Floyd was a career criminal. Right. Even though George Floyd had no redeeming qualities. It was easy because every night they showed the image of a white cop with his knee on a black man's neck. But what you could not see, what the cameras could not pick up on, was the fact that this man had cocaine and fentanyl in his system that was slowly killing him and ultimately led to his demise. Fortunately, for the liberals on CNN and MSNBC and all these Democrats that showed you that image millions of times, all day, every day, you could only see the knee on the neck. So you have that profound image, okay? Right. But you can't see because God designed us so that our eyes can't see inside of his bloodstream. Right. We can't see how his heart is beginning to beat out of rhythm. Right. We can't see how some of his organs are beginning to malfunction and shut down as a result of the drug cocktail that he had in his system. Right. So it's easy to fool you and to come out and to lie to you about what caused this man's death. Because guess what? You got the image in your head, the image of the knee on the neck, but that doesn't tell the whole story. And all they needed to see was a white knee on a black neck, and they lost their damn minds. Right. Because they worship race. Right. They worship melanin, that thing in your skin that causes you to be darker than non-blacks. Okay? Right. As I've said a million times, and only I've said this, melanin is irrelevant because it can't reason. It can't think and it can't rationalize. The brain does that. Okay? Right. I'm appealing to your brain today, not the melanin in your skin. Because I respect you enough to appeal to your brain. White liberal Democrats don't respect you, therefore they appeal to your race, your melanin. Right. So they black this, black that. You're a victim because you're black. You're this because you're black. And you fall for it. Right. But hey, Mike, they steadily call themselves kings and queens. Right. And technically, kings and queens are supposed to be intellectually superior. Correct. But you falling for the okie doke. Okay? And black racists say that they're superior to Caucasians, don't they? Do they not? Right. So why are you so-called superior kings and queens or superior black racists falling for the okie doke to these people that you consider to be inferior? You want to know why? Because that whole concept is bullshit. Okay? Let's get beyond that. I'm going to give you some facts. I'm going to give you some truth so that we can dispel the myths and so that they can stop emotionally stimulating you to go out here and be a fool the first Tuesday in November and to be a fool and riot every time you think someone was killed by the cops and that it was a death that was unjustified, okay? Right. So I'm going to help you with that. 2019 FBI crime statistics, okay? Now, let me say this about the crime statistics coming from the FBI. You ready for this, Mike? Most murder and violent crimes in America happens in large cities, the urban core. In our region, that would be Cincinnati, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Dayton, Louisville, Lexington, except Nashville, Knoxville, okay? Right. If you right now go and you look at crime stats, you're going to see that the majority of the crime in this region, Indianapolis included, all comes in those urban areas, right? Okay. So, most of your urban areas, the majority of the ones I just named, the mayors are all black and Democrat. Right. the police chiefs are black or Democrat. Right. Okay. And those municipalities are responsible for turning over the statistics from the police department to the FBI so that they can accumulate all these stats to give us the numbers I'm going to give you. Right. I say that to make this point. These Democrats, these Democrat mayors, these black mayors, they ain't going to lie on you. If anything, they wouldn't manipulate it. It would be in their best interest to manipulate these statistics to not make you blacks look so bad. Right. Okay? Right. So it's not as though these stats are coming from Republicans or conservatives. You feel me? Yeah. These stats are coming from Democrats. These stats are coming from blacks. So here we go. 2019. We had 246 white persons killed. I mean, in 2019, 246 white blacks were killed by whites. I'm going to repeat that. In 2019, this is the most recent stats that I have. Whites killed 247 black people in America, just general citizens, okay? Right. In the same year, 2019, blacks killed 566 whites. It's just citizens, okay? Right. So that means that blacks in 2019, and every year is like this, is always between double to triple. Every year in America, black people kill white people at a rate of 2 or 3 to 1. So we're killing them more often than they're killing us, okay? Right. Let's pause for 1 second so I can make this clear. If that is the case, it would be a situation more conducive to whites having to fear us, right? Correct. It would be a situation more conducive to, that's a situation that's more conducive to whites being able to say, them damn black people, right? Right. Okay. Let's move on to violent crime in America, same year, 2019, by race. Blacks commit 36% of violent crime, yet we're only 13% of the population. So we kill almost 3 times, at a rate almost 3 times our percentage of the population. Right. Whites commit 58% of violent crime because they're larger numerically, right, but they're only 61% of the population. That stat says this. Let's be honest. Don't be butthurt. Don't have your feelings hurt. I'm gonna deal with reality. That's reality. That says that black people are 3 times more violent, almost 3 times more violent than whites in America. Okay. Right. That says that's way out of proportion. That says we don't know how to act. Okay? That says we're violent. Right. Very violent. Right. And the fact that they commit 58% of the crimes and there's 61% of the population, well, that's an amazing stat because that's less than the percentage of the population that you represent. Whereas with us, it's almost 3 times right. that. We don't want to deal with the truth. Okay? Right. But the truth, which is facts, they reveal the intentional, manipulative lies and deceit that hold you captive to the Luciferian Democrat left. All I'm doing here by giving you the truth, by giving you the facts, by reciting these numbers, is I'm giving you the ability to be free from the lies and the deceit that's fed to you. Okay? Right. There's no other way to free people from lies and deceit other than say, hold on, let me give you the truth. Now, if we give them the truth and they still want to go with the lies and the deceit, that's a lost cause. I'm not worried about them. I'm concerned with the people that have a rational way of thinking And they can sit back and say, you know what? This man just gave us the truth. And the truth don't line up with what these other people over on the left been telling us. Right. And that's the people in America that are shifting to the right politically. We see this shift is happening. Right. You know, you haven't seen more blacks and non-whites moving from the left to the right as what you have seen in the past 6-7 years. Right. Okay, and that's a good thing because we know what the left, Luciferian left is, and we don't want to identify with the Luciferian left, and we're trying to get you people out here to stop identifying with them. And politically, the Luciferian left is, i.e., the Democrat Party. Now, hold on. We're going to go to 2019 still. We're still in 2019. In 2019, there were 7,484 blacks murdered in America. In 2020, it jumped to 9,941 blacks murdered in America. Okay? Right. That's a hell of an increase.
Yes, it is.
We're out of control, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have a problem with systemic racism. We don't have a problem with white supremacy. We don't have a problem with neo-Nazis. We don't have a problem with the KKK. We don't have a problem with the Aryan Nation. We have a black problem. In that same year, 2020, there were 7,043 whites murdered. Now, here's why. This is why that is significant, Mike. Whites murder whites and blacks murder blacks. Okay? Right. There's 41 million black people in America. There's just over 200 million white people in America. Right. So why is it that 41 million blacks are murdering 10,000 blacks, and in the same year, 201 million whites are only murdering 7,000 whites? We have a violence and a murder problem in the black community. You understand? Right. We don't have a white man problem. We don't have a racism problem. We have a black problem. Right. We have a black violence problem. We have a black murder problem. Now, I'm going to talk about rape. And this isn't going to go over too well, Mike. I've talked about this before, but never behind the camera and the microphone. You understand? Right. I've talked about it with my friends, and they couldn't believe it. And I told them that this was true, and they didn't want to accept it because it doesn't fit the narrative. Right. It doesn't make us out to be victims. Right. Okay? It doesn't fit the narrative that black women like to present to society about being desirable to everybody else. Right. Newsflash. Black women, unfortunately for you, you are the least desired. Okay? Right. It's just the truth. Because of their attitudes. Okay? Right. They're very disagreeable. Right. Their mouths are out of control. Right. And they're just fake. Right. When I see a black woman, I don't even know who I'm looking at because she has all this fake hair, weave or wig, these nails, and these ridiculous lashes. And literally, Mike, I'm not trying to be funny here. Oftentimes, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl because when you put on that hair and those lashes and those nails, you look like a tranny. Right. You look like a transgender. Right. And this is just being honest. So if the black woman and the transgender has a problem with this, I'm not making this up. Right. Both of y'all put on the fake hair, the fake nails, and the fake lashes. Right. That's what they do. Right. So if both of y'all are in the bathroom, in the mirror, preparing yourself with the same things the same way, and then you go out, exit the house, and go to the club or to the bar, to the restaurant, how am I supposed to distinguish who's who? Yeah.
Right.
So don't get mad at me. And it's not just me. This is what black men in general are thinking. Okay? Right. In particular, us black men that aren't simps, that don't give a damn about telling the truth and how it makes you feel. Right. Okay? And as I said in another video, we didn't ask y'all to put this shit on. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. The hair stank. Okay? It's nasty. And I've seen them out, and the lashes, they're so ridiculously large, they come loose. Yeah. Now you got a lash that's leaning. This is insane. Right. But back to this statistic that's going to hurt. It don't hurt me. A lot of you black women, you're not going to like this. Let me tell you something, man. In 1988, and we're talking about rape by race, okay? They stopped. I forget, I don't know what year it is, but I'm going to talk about 1988. But this stat reflects so negatively towards black men and black women. And I know that kind of sounds to some people, it's going to be like, how does he figure towards black women? But let's keep it real, man. If guys ain't running around raping chicks that they're not attracted to, right? Right. Then they say, well, rape is about power. Okay, it may be. But if a guy's raping a woman, it may be about power, but he wants to exercise that power over a bride that he's attracted to. Right. That's how these rapist dudes think. Right. Because at the end of the day, they're guys. They're going to gravitate to that which they deem to be most attractive. Right. In the United States of America, the woke crowd stopped keeping rape stats based on race because they didn't like what they were seeing and it wasn't going along with certain narratives. In 1988, 9,406 blacks raped white women. Did you hear that say it? Right. In 1988, 9,406 blacks raped white women. Okay? Right. In 1988, there were less than 10 cases of white men raping black women. You want to know why? I think black women over the years have created this negative aura around themselves. Right. That has caused them, fortunately maybe, to not be looked at by these white men as being desirable. Right. Therefore, they won't even rape them. As sick as that sounds. Y'all heard the stats. Y'all heard the numbers. 1988, 9,406 black times a white woman was raped by a black man. In that same year, there was less than 10 cases of a white man raping a black woman. Hey, I'm just repeating the numbers, giving you a perspective on these numbers, all these numbers. And if you can't handle it, that's your damn problem. Let me get that out of here, because I'm not feeling some kind of way towards you and these numbers and how they make you feel, because they're the truth. How they make you feel is your problem. In 2020, okay, let's talk about blacks dying during a police interaction, okay? But we're going to compare it along racial lines, black and white, because the narrative is, if you let them tell it, the cops out here just murdering black folk. Okay? Right. And if you listen to them talk about it, you would think that every day in America, there was dozens of black people being murdered by cops. This is what you would believe if you listen to the left, blacks, white liberals talk about this. Right. I just recently heard 3 white females, they were all liberal, pieces of shit, recently graduated from college, okay? Right. And all they could talk about is how the cops were murdering and the harm that cops were doing to black men. Okay? So let's look at the numbers. And these numbers are consistent year to year. Okay? Right. In 2020, 250 blacks were killed during a police-involved interaction, okay? Right. In that same year, 443 whites were killed during a police-involved interaction, okay? Right. Of the 250 blacks killed during a police-involved interaction, 9 of those blacks were unarmed, but only 2 of those were unjustified. Okay? Right. So in 2020, you have a total of 250 blacks dying during a police-involved interaction, and only 2 of those instances were unjustified. Okay? Right. That's not an epidemic. Okay? Right. That's not a war on black life in America at the hands of cops. Right. Let's look at whites. Of the 443 whites that died during a police-involved interaction in America in 2020, 19, more than twice that number of blacks, were unarmed. Okay? Right. Now, let's look at the stats a little more, because it's going to reveal something to us. These stats, for example, black males are 6% of the population, yet they make up 42% of cop killers. Did you hear that? Right. How in the hell can 6% of the population, black males, be 42% of cop killers? Look at me, Mike. And you don't expect for these cops to look at you a certain way? Right. If I see that stat as a black cop, and let's say those numbers were white males, it's humanly impossible. It would be humanly impossible for me not to view white males a certain way. Right. Okay? So I'm going to keep my eye on if those numbers were saying white males instead of black males. Right. So I don't think cops are coming out here intentionally murdering blacks because of those numbers. Right. But it causes them to keep one eyebrow raised. Hey, if you don't, you're stupid. Right. Okay? In 2015, a police officer, that was the latest number I had on this, but they stay consistent year to year. In 2015, a police officer was 18.5 times more likely to be killed by a black male than an unarmed black male was to be killed by a police officer. Did you hear me? Right. Now listen. These numbers are the truth, and they aren't lining up consistent with the narrative that the Democrats, these liberals, are putting out here. Okay? Right. The reason why these numbers, these actual numbers, are inconsistent with this narrative that Democrats, white liberals, are putting out here is because they're giving us a pack of lies and deceit in order to emotionally stimulate and manipulate us. Okay? We are like Pavlov's dog to these white liberal Democrats. Right. They ring that bell of racism and we come barking and biting and growling. Right. Okay? And we do exactly what they want us to do, which is 2 things. Go vote for them and riot. Right. Like a bunch of monkeys. Like a bunch of fools. So here's the thing. The truth, in theory, Mike, the truth in theory, according to the Bible, sets you free, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if the truth sets you free, and you are now receiving the truth every time you tune into the Exodus Media Network, and yet, if you go back out here and you continue to vote how you vote, act how you act, then you don't want to be free. And then if you don't want to be free because you don't respond to the truth that should be releasing you from those shackles, you can't complain. Now let me tie that in right quick. You can't complain, and here's the example. I think I get this because all these Negroes that voted for Biden, right, now they got everything's high, the food, the gas, and everything. I don't hear them complaining. Hey, didn't I say you can't complain? Right. I don't hear y'all. It used to be when Trump was in office, these Negroes was on Facebook just typing away, complaining, mad, complaining. I want Trump out of there. We got to get him out of here. This is life or death. This could be the end of the black race. They're trying to take us out. This is what they said. Never mind the fact that Margaret Sanger, who is actually currently taking them out through Planned Parenthood and abortion, which she designed eugenics and Planned Parenthood to exterminate these Negroes. Right. They're really being taken out by that. Right. By the millions. Right. They're not paranoid or about that. Trump didn't take nobody out. Margaret Sanger's taking you out. Okay? Right. And the Democrats are dying in the wool for her. She's the Democrats' hero, their champion. I showed them in a previous video where Hillary Clinton was talking about him and dumbass LeBron James was talking about Margaret Sanger being her hero, and dumbass LeBron James was running out telling these stupid Negroes to vote for Hillary Clinton. So how stupid are we when we vote Democrat and we who practices, okay, genocide on blacks by supporting and funding Planned Parenthood, by promoting it, verbally promoting it. Yet our side, the conservatives, the Republicans, are totally against that. But somehow Negroes are so dumb they can't tie that whole genocide thing into the party that they vote for. They're stupid, Mike. They're stupid. And they tell, yeah, it does. And I'm going to tell you something. They're stupid. I mentioned it before. They say you catch more flies with honey. Right? Right. I argue you catch more flies with shit. I ain't never been walking down the street and seen a bunch of flies all over honey, but I've been walking down the street a million times and seen flies all over shit. Right. Okay? Right. I don't have no honey for you. I got to give you the shit, which is the truth. And if you don't like that, I don't know what to tell you, but listen, Mike, man, here's the issue. We can't keep continuing to go down this road year after year after year after year because it's getting worse. Okay? Not just America is getting worse since Biden has been in office and he's implemented his dystopian agenda. Here's the problem. Let me talk about this real quick. You've witnessed what has happened since Biden's been in office, right?
Right.
You go to the grocery store, you see the prices, right?
Right.
You go to the retail stores and you see the cost of things. Everything's gone up tremendously.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 500% and even more.
Right.
You see the price of fuel.
Right.
If you're a truck driver, you see the price of diesel fuel.
Right.
If you're an independent truck driver, the price of fuel should be crushing you. But if you're an independent truck driver and you voted for Biden and you can ignore these prices and not complain and you're willing to vote for him and whatever other Democrat next time, you're not even real. I can't view you as a real person. Let me tell you something. Right here, I have a list of Trump's accomplishments, and I'm going to go through them real quick because we know what Biden's accomplishments are. Well, hold on. No, let's finish with Biden's accomplishments because let's see what Biden has accomplished since he's been in office. We've already identified the high gas prices. Right. We've already identified the high cost of food and other retail items. Okay,
Right.
Automobiles. You see how they've gone up?
Yeah.
This is insane. Used and new. Well, we know that he has. This is what you people voted for. We know that he has also allowed in 2 to 3 million illegals. Okay,
Right.
which they're coming to where you black people live, creating increased competition for limited resources for you and your kids. We know that overdoses in America due to drugs is at a record all-time high epidemic,
Right.
like numbers we've never seen.
Right.
That's because your guy opened the border.
Right.
That's because your guy wanted to allow these illegals in.
Right.
And he opened the border. He's allowing the illegals in. And the cartel is giving these illegals the drugs and saying, here, you're going to carry these drugs in or else.
Right.
At the same time, simultaneously, those drugs and those drugs are flooding into the urban core, to the poor communities, into these black communities.
Right.
So that means that Biden has opened the floodgates. That means that Biden has opened the floodgates on the black community as it relates to drugs, illegals in the form of increased competition for limited resources.
Right.
Also, the cartel is exploiting these people sexually. Okay? So you have sex trafficking at an all-time high.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
But the Democrats say that they are for the kids, right?
Right.
But you're creating the circumstances for the kids to get screwed
Right.
in the butt
Right.
at the border.
Right.
And then they come across the border and they keep them in sex houses and they continue to get exploited sexually
Right.
for pay
Right.
in order to pay off their debt
Right.
for coming across their border
Right.
to the cartel.
Right.
Okay. So we have record amounts of fentanyl. That's what's killing everybody.
Right.
The fentanyl is originating in China. The Chinese Communist Party, who the NBA and LeBron James is in bed with and doing big business with,
Right.
is selling the fentanyl, okay,
Right.
to the Mexican cartel, and then the Mexican cartel delivers it here,
Right.
and we die.
Right.
Now, you know, like I know, the Chinese Communist Party has such a tight grip on everything in China.
Right.
They are sending that dope. That dope isn't being smuggled out by some Chinese drug dealer. Nothing leaves that country without the Chinese Communist Party knowing.
Right.
So they are behind this.
Right.
And they don't mind killing Americans because their ultimate goal is to kill America.
Right.
Now, if they can sell this dope to the Mexicans and then the Mexicans can sell it here and lace it in the products that they ship here and make this money, all at our expense, all of this because your guy Biden and Harris, the Democrat Party, is allowing this. Why are you still voting for these people? Why are you still supporting these people? Because black people in particular, but this applies to everybody that vote for them. But I say black people in particular because 90% of black people voted for them and damn near 99% of black women voted for them. That's the reason why I refer to you black people as homicidal, genocidal maniacs. Because you're going to get yourselves one way or the other. Either through homicide out in the streets and selling dope to one another and the violence. And if you can't kill each other using homicide, you Negroes are going to kill each other with genocide by supporting the party that's exterminating you. Okay? Right. By allowing the floodgates to be open at the border and all that fentanyl and all that dope is coming through and it's killing you. Right. Your guy opened the border. And if he and if he doesn't get you that way, he's going to get you economically because these 3 million Mexicans, El Salvadorans, and Guatemalans that he done allowed in since he's been in office less than 2 years, they're moving to your neighborhoods competing against you. Right. Getting your resources. Right. You have got to be the dumbest group of people on the planet Earth because you're in the most prosperous country in the history of the world and you're not taking advantage of it. As a matter of fact, you're handing over your prosperity to everybody. You understand?
Yes, I do.
Y'all are lost in the wilderness. Y'all out here roaming around in the dark, bumping into one another, and you ain't got a damn clue. Like a bunch of zombies. Listen, Biden, I got to touch this. Biden is responsible for all this drugs. Biden is responsible for all this sex trafficking because of the border. He opened the border. Biden is responsible for all these overdoses. All you Negroes, y'all have. Go look at the number of overdoses since Biden has been in office in the black community. It's going to blow you away. Biden is responsible for this increased competition for limited resources, jobs, housing, social services, etc. That's why you Negroes can't access this stuff the way you used to, because he's telling all these people to come in and get it, who aren't even citizens. And while all this is going on, the Chinese and the cartels are seeing record profits at our expense. Poor little Americans and poor little 41 million black people.
Right.
Just getting crushed under the weight of Democrat Party policies. I'm going to repeat that. You black people are getting crushed under the weight of Democrat Party policies because everything that I've revealed is Democrat Party policies. I'm going to repeat it again because it has to be repeated. Y'all need to disseminate this. You black people are being crushed under the weight of Democrat Party policies, and you go out and vote for them. So listen, man. The Russian-Ukraine war. Let's not talk about the details, okay,
Right.
in depth,
Right.
in an exhaustive manner. Let's just keep it simple. That war happened because Trump exited and Biden came in.
Right.
They saw a mannequin, a weak piece of meat,
Right.
and they said, he ain't going to do nothing, okay?
Right.
They knew he was weak,
Right.
and they knew they had him by the balls because of him and his sons, Hunter, and his brother Jim Biden and their dealings with the Chinese and the Russians and the Ukrainians, okay?
Right.
If you people don't know, put you students, you're sitting in your dorm room. First day of classes, most of these universities. Today is Monday, August the 22nd, 2022. This is the first day of classes at most of these universities.
Right.
And y'all sitting in there and you're excited. You're away from home, some of you for the first time. You see these cute girls out here, and you girls see these guys you like around campus. Your hormones are jumping. You're free. Ain't no mom or dad over your shoulder to tell you what to do. You feel me?
Right.
And you just are raging. Okay, and you want to get out there and you want to taste it.
Right.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
They want to taste it. You want to drink. You want to go to the bar. You want to dance. But let me tell you what you better do. Let's touch on the education. You got these books. You've gone and you met your professors today. I know how the shit works. You met your professors today, and you shit. Let's get some props. You got your books. Okay, some of your books are online, and you look at these books and you're like, this book contains a lot of information. I'm about to be educated. That's okay. They're excited all the way around, and they glanced in the books. Ain't nobody read shit yet first day, so they glance through and they see some big words and some equations and shit. Like, oh, they ain't even ready for it for real. But you're excited because you think you're about to get this knowledge that's going to distinguish you from everybody else that didn't go to college. Wrong. Okay. 99% of y'all gonna enter and then exit college with a certificate, piece of paper, and you're going to be as stupid and fucking dumb as you were when you got there today. Unless you do something about it. Because the universities are just indoctrination mills. And they're indoctrinating you with these lies and this deceit about race, bullshit. Global warming, bullshit. Man-made global warming, bullshit. And I'm going to stop on global warming right now for just one quick second, because all these little white girls in the universities, we've got to save the earth. Global warming. We've got to look for something that's more sustainable. They use these words and they think they're intelligent.
Right.
You're stupid. I'm just going to run this. I've said this before. If you little dumb monkeys are worried about global warming, sustainability, climate change, Go ask all of these liberal Democrats, elite, super wealthy millionaires and billionaires that are feeding this shit to you, along with your college professors. Ask them why they buying oceanfront property. Ask them why they developing oceanfront property. Okay? Right. Because if the earth was warming, which they say it is at this record rate, which is a lie, all that shit's going to be underwater pretty soon. The same people that's feeding you this bullshit about everything's going to be underwater because of climate change and global warming, where did they move to? They all live on the coastal areas all around the world. The coastal areas is the prime real estate. That's where the elite liberal left live. You understand? Right. The same people that's telling them that it's all going to flood. Right. So how can they tell you that all this is going to flood? Climate change is real, yet they're moving to the edge of the ocean. Right. Y'all never thought to ask yourselves that, did you? And tell me why all these humongous big banks funding these projects and why all these humongous big insurance companies are insuring these projects. You people some dummies, but you think you know. You think you know something. You don't know nothing. But if you go back and begin at episode number 1 and follow it all the way through and continue to follow us, you'll learn something. And if you do that for 4 years while you're in that stinking university and you ignore your professors, and when they feed you some bullshit that you know doesn't line up with what I told you, you take what I told you and you fight against them and you shut them down. You let them know y'all don't know nothing. You're a bunch of indoctrination con artists. That's what these professors are. Lying to you kids, working on the behalf of the Luciferians. So I'm going to put my prop back. Mike. So the Russian-Ukraine war, back to that. That has cost America $54 billion. $54 billion that we only had to spend because Biden allowed this whole thing to jump off. Right. There's been 5,000 plus Ukrainians killed. Right. This is money and blood on Biden and the Democrat Party's hands. Right. This money and this being spent and this blood, this life loss is because of their policies, right, because of their weak stance. Okay? Right. And throughout all this, and Biden is, and we know that Russia is wrong for invading the Ukraine. And Biden has gotten up on behind the podium and talked tough about Putin, right? Right. And then tell me, if that's the case, why is Biden selling oil from our strategic reserves to Putin? If you're selling oil to Putin and Putin is crushing the Ukraine, then in theory, you're fueling his army to go out and crush the people that you say you want to save from Putin. Does that make any sense?
You're playing both ends against the middle.
But does that make any sense?
No.
This man Biden and the Democrats stand up behind the microphone and talk about poor Ukraine. Putin, you stop. Stop it, Mr. Putin, you poor Ukrainians. Yet you're selling oil from our strategic reserve that is reserved for wartime to Putin for his war against the Ukrainians who you say you give a damn about. And all you little liberal white kids in these universities got Ukrainian flags in your rooms and in your windows and Ukrainian bumper stickers on the back of your car, yet you voting Democrat. Y'all some clowns. You some monkeys. Oh, I love saying that word. I mean, when I get to call people a monkey or a group of people monkeys, it's like 1,000 pounds. Just you monkeys. Yeah, listen, I need a little sip. I need a little. Y'all see it? Exodus Media Network. That's more than a sip. That was a gulp. Okay, let's move real quick. Gas and fuel, because we talked about that. Under Biden, we had the highest gas prices and diesel prices ever. June the 14th of this year, $5.08 regular unleaded. June the 21st this year, $6.16 diesel. Okay?
Right.
He's crushing you people. He's crushing the very people that voted for him. Am I lying?
Nope.
And he don't even care. He told them to drive less or go to get an electric car. Can't nobody afford those Teslas, but the elite,
Right.
the wealthy. He shut down the Keystone Pipeline, which was North American oil,
Right.
which was a part of the plan for continued energy independence for America and Canada.
Right.
And he shut that down because of, he says, global warming, climate change. You monkey. You monkey. And in doing that, he killed 1,500 jobs immediately.
Right.
And those were 1,500 jobs that were directly related to the pipeline, not counting all the jobs that were attached to that as far as people that are making the stuff that they need and feeding them and so on and so forth. So there was tens of thousands of people ultimately that were benefiting in America from that pipeline.
Right.
And all the rest of us were benefiting because this was the future of North American energy independence, so we don't have to go get it from our enemies in the Middle East and elsewhere. You understand?
Right.
Who wants to be, does it make sense to be dependent upon your enemy?
Not at all.
But that's what we want to do as Americans? No, that's not what we want to do as Americans. That's what the Democrat Party is doing and wants to continue to do as the American Democrat Party at our expense. But y'all keep voting for them. You turn it on CNN, you turn it on MSNBC, and you listen to those sons of bitches lie to you. I'm giving you the truth. For 1 second, I'm going to talk to you black people. Y'all talk all this shit. You've heard me say this before. Brother, this brother, everybody's a brother. You know, brother, my black brother. But y'all won't listen to me, but you turn on CNN and MSNBC and listen to white liberals lie to you. So when you say brother, you don't mean it. You're full of shit. And you just a stupid monkey who says that term is basically a reflex. You know, you don't mean it. You don't even know what's really behind that word if you mean it. But because you don't mean it, you don't understand it, you don't know what's really behind that word. And as I said before, you got your biological brother and your brothers in Christ. That's it. You are nobody's brother because you and that other person that both have melanin. Okay? Right. That's bullshit. And if that's true, then y'all here killing your brothers left and right because we just saw it. Right. How many murders we've seen in the past 2 weeks in Cincinnati? Senseless murders. Right. You know, it don't even make, and shootings included. Right. And it's all brothers shooting and murdering brothers. Brothers. Y'all full of shit. And kids. Poor child just got murdered yesterday. In Mount Healthy. Then we talked about this last time, but we have to mention it again because people have to know what they get with their vote, what they're voting for. You got Black Lives Matter in their manifesto. They made it clear that they were about one thing. Excuse me, Black Lives Matter, if you read their manifesto, which none of you have, they made it clear and they've since scrubbed it, but I got the original copy here and I need to put it up online. Their whole goal was to get homosexuals and transgenders running the country. Right. That was their goal. And Biden is helping them to do it because we talked about all the different homosexuals and I showed images of the homosexuals and the transgenders that he has put in positions of leadership. Right. And he only did this to satisfy them. Right. Okay? They're not there because they deserve to be there. They're there because he only did that to satisfy them. Right. The same holds true with all these black women he has recently appointed to different positions. They're not there because they deserve to be there. They're there because he wanted to satisfy them and their tokens. And he did that because he knew that those black women were going to take the liberal, Luciferian, dystopian banner and run with it and help support all this 3D culture, death, destruction, and debauchery. Okay? And that's what all the Democrat Party policies lead to. It's death, destruction, and debauchery, 3D culture. That's my term. So if you hear somebody else using it, let me know. Now, I'm going to move on because we're going to be wrapping up, so I'm going to move a little quicker. Well, we talked about Biden and the hell that he has allowed to rain down on us. Oh, no. I got to say a couple more things about Biden. When Biden was saying that he was only looking for females or black females for certain positions, that's discrimination against males, right?
Right.
They call that misandry. We constantly hear everybody around talking, you're a misogynist, you're against women. Well, if you think I'm a misogynist, I'm against women, then you all are practicing misandry and you're against men. Because that's the term that says that you don't like men, that you discriminate against men. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's start using that word misandry, okay? Right. Instead of, to counter them calling us misogynists. Right. Well, I don't know the proper way to say it, but you're misandrist, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe that's the correct way to say it. And all this whole black female thing and positions of leadership is Eric Mann, okay? He's behind that. And Eric Mann, he's a devil. Right. Go look him up and see who he is. It's easy for black people to go along with all this stuff, all this garbage coming from the left. You want to know why? Because it satisfies their racial appetite. See, black people have a racial appetite that needs to be satisfied. Right. And what I mean by black people having a racial appetite that needs to be satisfied, meaning that they need to have so many black women appointed, so many black people appointed. How many black people live here? How many black people do we got there? How many black people can we get over here in this? It shouldn't be about that. Right. You should want positions or whatever field, not based on race, not based on gender, but based on ability, qualifications, the experience. Right. Who's the best man or woman for the job? Period, in the story. Right. But they got that appetite that's race-based. So don't nothing mean nothing to black folks unless it's black. They worship blackness. Right. And that's going to take them to hell. So let me move on real quick. And let me say a couple things about Trump real quick, because everybody hate on Trump. And I showed you all the death, destruction, and debauchery given to us by your boy Biden. I got a list here of things that Trump has done. Trump and Tim Scott, who's a black senator from South Carolina, they created the opportunity zones that are working very, very well to revitalize the poor or urban communities, inner city urban communities. That ain't no Democrat Party thing. Trump and Tim Scott created that, okay? Right. Both Republicans. Veterans Choice allows veterans to go beyond the VA for care to be covered. So now veterans got the choice. They get to go beyond the VA to other hospitals to get their care. Right. That's huge. Right. That allows them to have the best care, right, / better care. The opioid crisis. You know, everybody getting addicted, and they say, well, a lot of people getting addicted because the painkillers, right? Right? Well, Trump had them start working on a non-addictive painkiller. Right. Something that wasn't like an opioid-based type thing so that people didn't get strung out. Right. Democrats didn't do that. Everything I'm naming, this is what Trump did. Democrats ain't thought about this, haven't done this. Trump increased the military spending beyond what Obama was spending. When people say, you're spending on the military, but what about people being hungry? Listen, you can't even be hungry if your borders aren't safe, because they're going to come in here and slaughter you anyway. Right. And there's no shortage of people that want to come to America and destroy us. Right. And they have currently infiltrated us from within, and they are doing that from the inside out, right, like a parasite does its host. Exactly. Energy independence. You saw how cheap the gas was. Right. When Trump was in office, it was $2 and just below $2. And they say, well, when Trump left office, it was $2.30. Well, when he left office, it was a foregone conclusion that this asshole Biden was in office and messing shit up. And that's why gas went up. It was a foregone conclusion that Biden had already waged his war on fossil fuels as he promised to do. They knew what was coming down the pipe. So the day that Trump officially left and gas was $2.30, it had risen from just below $2 because Biden had won. So miss me with that shit. And I wish you conservative pundits would stop saying gas was $2.30 when Trump left. No, gas was $2.30 after Biden had won the election, and we knew all hell was in the process of breaking loose. Keep it real. We were a net exporter of natural gas. That's a good thing. We wasn't buying it from other people. We were selling to other people. That's good. We had the lowest black unemployment ever under Trump. You black people, you voted out a guy that created the lowest black unemployment ever. That makes you stupid. Better yet, a monkey. We had the lowest Hispanic unemployment ever under the guy that y'all say is a racist. Well, he's not a very good racist. If he's a practicing racist, damn, his record says that he's horrible at being a racist. We had the lowest female unemployment ever. They said he was a misogynist. They said he hates women. Well, if he hates women, if he hates misogynists, he has to be the worst damn misogynist ever. Okay? For the first time in 30 years under Trump, overdose deaths declined in America. But y'all voted him out. That tells me that you're not a very intellectual, articulate electorate. This is why you need to be politically educated. So you can stop being an ignorant, uninformed electorate. And a lot of people, they don't like it. I'm just telling you. I hope you're man and woman enough for this not to hurt your feelings and to recognize this is the truth and to respond accordingly. We lowest female unemployment. Stock market performed like it had never performed before. He greatly reduced the trade deficit. Prior to him coming in office, all he talked about the trade deficit, Well, Trump said, he told him, I'm going to come in and straighten that out because I'm a businessman. And he did that. Right. And the Chinese hated it because our trade deficit was with them. Right. But he flip-flopped and had them paying us. Right. I'd rather my enemy had to pay me and for me to owe less to my enemy than had to pay my enemy and owe a lot to them. Right. Trump was intelligent enough to know that, but they try to act like this man is stupid. Right. They try to act like he became a billionaire because his daddy loaned him $1 million. Hey, I seen one brother, he talked about how you got to be a bad son buck to turn $1 million into $1 billion. Right. Okay? Because I guarantee, look at all the lottery winners. Right. They take $1 million and turn it into zero, but they go broke. Right. So Trump can't be no fool for turning $1 million into $1 billion. Oh man, this here, you're part of the realest thing out here right now. This is the realest thing, said in the realest way. Okay, right. Y'all better recognize. Y'all better recognize. Alan and Mike are coming to you live tonight. We got hold on, where was that? Business taxes have been lowered, thereby bringing over $1 trillion back into our economy. What they're saying there is this. Money was being repatriated, meaning it was being brought back from overseas back into America because under the Democrats, it's like, you bring that money back, we're going to tax the shit out of you. We're going to get every penny we can out of that money, okay? Right. So the company said, well, hell, if that's the case, I'm going to leave my shit overseas. Because I know as soon as I repatriate it, bring it back, you're going to get every dime of it you can. Well, Trump said, hold on. Trump's smart. He's a businessman. Right. He said, instead of us taxing the hell out of them, if they bring it back, but they're not going to bring it back because they know we're going to tax the shit out of them, why not reduce the level at which we're going to tax them? Then they'll bring it back, and at least we get something as opposed to nothing. Right. And that led to a lot of the positive economic growth all across the board to all people, every corner of this country. Right. Because the man is a smart businessman. He wasn't thinking with his emotions. He wasn't thinking about a selfish, liberal, leftist, Luciferian agenda being well-funded by the tax dollars coming from these successful business people. I don't know how many of y'all heard that or going to catch on to that. So feel free when you see this, record it, rewind that back and play that to yourself again and let that sink in. Okay? Trump doubled the child tax credit. Now, well, that just meant that you got double the tax credit for that kid you got. Right. And that helped out a lot of working families. Right. Okay? So emissions. Okay, emissions. The pollutants right. in the sky, in the air that the liberals claim, it's gonna destroy the earth, and they claim they're all about this. Well, Trump reduced emissions by 2.7%. The Democrats hadn't done that. So that means under Trump, there were less emissions, so-called pollutants in the sky, which I'm not worried about anyway. I told you about this. Nature takes care of itself. But you thinking like a liberal, they said they were all about the environment. Your guys never reduced emissions like that. Right. Trump reduced the emissions, but you kick him out. So what does this say? If Trump is solving all these people's issues, black, white, female, liberal, but they still want to kick him out, that means they don't really give a damn about this stuff. They talk a good game because they use this to leverage, but they can't leverage it in reality because Trump took care of this stuff. So you know what's happening? They use this to emotionally stimulate you, talk about all these things and what's going to happen and doom and gloom, what we're going to do. They don't give a damn about that. That's just to get you to vote for them so that over here they can actually usher in this new agenda, this new world order. They want to do this great reset, okay? Because they're not serious about none of the stuff that they talk about, because if they was, they would say, well, hell, Trump has done all the things that we said we wanted to see get done, so we're going to vote for Trump. But no, they threw him out. Right. So that means they're lying every time they tell you they care about emissions, the climate, the labor participation rate, which was the highest under Trump, the unemployment rate, which was the lowest under Trump. So they lying. They're some lying sons of bitches and daughters of bitches. Trump appointed 2 Supreme Court justices, and that's how we got to Roe v. Wade. But that pisses the liberals off because they want to kill the babies. That's how we got it reversed. Right. And I could keep going on, but I want. He added 600,000 new manufacturing jobs and all this great stuff, and they got rid of the man. Okay? It's insane. So these people are insane. Real quick, and I'm going to wrap up. I got so much more, but I just want to do this real quick. 2 things I'm going to do real fast. They say Trump is a horrible guy, right? And I've already shown how he's not, but I'm going to touch on more stuff. And then I'm going to end this on some dirt on Biden that the media won't talk about. And that you can go verify. Any citizen can go verify this. But real quick on Trump. Trump is the only president that came in office and left office with less wealth than what he had when he entered. So that means he didn't use the office for personal gain, right? Right. He donated his whole salary the whole time he was in it. Obama and Clinton, they didn't do that. Biden, none of these people doing that. No. I'm going to tell you where he donated his whole salary. $100,000 to the National Park Service to help clean up the historical battlegrounds. $100,000 to the Department of Education for a 2-week space camp for low-income girls. Low-income girls, okay? Mm-hmm. So he's helping the poor and the female. Right. They say he's against them both. Right. He donated $400,000 to fight to the Health and Human Services division of our government to fight opioid addiction and COVID. Right. Does that sound like a bad guy that they paint him out to be? Not to me. He donated, and I forgot to tell you this. Also, this is just his check that he donated. The total $1.6 million over 4 years. He also reached into his pocket and would put other personal money with this money. They don't tell you that. See, but this is a verifiable truth. He donated another $100,000 to the Transportation Department for infrastructure projects, bridges, roads. He donated another $100,000 to the Veterans Administration for the veterans. He donated another $100,000 to the SBA, Small Business Association, who give out loans to everyday common people, so they can go into business. He donated another $100,000 because he don't smoke. He's never smoked. He's never drank in his life. He donated another $100,000 to the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. He donated another $400,000 to Homeland Security to help secure our borders. Right. He donated another $100,000 he donated $400,000 to Homeland Security. He donated another $100,000 to the Department of Agriculture for the farmers. Right. He donated another $100,000 to the national parks to repair our national monuments. Right. This isn't something that a racist monster does. None of this stuff that we've been talking about here. Right. This is something that a guy that loves all Americans, loves his country, and wants to see us last far beyond his lifetime. This is what a person does when they feel that way. Right. And the last part I'm going to get, and I'm skipping over some stuff so we get back to this, so I'm going to leave it over here in this stack. Last thing I'm going to talk about, and this stays in this stack. Joe Biden crime family. I'm only going to give you true information. Anybody can go get it if they want to get it, but people are scared to get the truth because then they got to react to it. Right. Let me first say this, and I've said this before. I'm not a fan of white trash or niggers. Okay? Right. White people don't like white trash. Black people don't like niggers. Right. White trash aren't good for white people. Niggers aren't good for black people in black community. Right. We saw niggers shooting up the city down on Main Street. 9 people got shot. Right. A couple weeks ago. Right. That wasn't good for the black community. Not at all. The Bidens are white trash. The Clintons are white trash. Obama's white trash and a nigga because he half white and half black, and he got those leftist policies. Right. So that makes him both. Right. The Biden crime family has made over $31 million with their fraudulent dealings with China, Russia, and the Ukraine. Right. The point man for those operations has been his drug-addicted son, Hunter Biden. Okay? Right. They've come out with emails and phone calls and interviews, and they've interviewed people that are Biden family of business associates that decided to tell the truth. Mm-hmm. And they've identified the big man in the emails, in the phone calls, and in the interviews. They refer to a guy called the big man and the big man's percentage, the big man's cut. The big man has been identified as Joe Biden. So that means that Joe Biden was in on the crime family activity and getting his cut in the same way the mob functions. Right. That's why they call them the Biden crime family. Right. But y'all went out and voted for them. Monkeys! And they knew this shit pre-election. Then the liberal left Democrat media suppressed it. But if these Negroes and these white liberals and these suburban white housewives and these young white millennials and college kids and shit that was running their mouths, thought they knew what they talked about, really wanted to know the truth, they could access it through their tablets and their phones and their laptops, and they could have done exhaustive research and really discovered what the hell was really going on. That's the only way you're going to find out what the media is suppressing. Right. You got to do your own due diligence. Right. But y'all too lazy and pathetic to do that. All of y'all. So now, we know that Biden is making all this money with the Chinese Communist Party, the Ukrainians, and the Russians. And the Chinese and the Russians are our enemies. Right. Okay. We also know that Hunter Biden is on video. Okay. And I showed him on video in number 41. Y'all can see him right there laying up in the bed smoking crack. Y'all can see y'all get this video out there with him with the hookers. There's video of him on YouTube showing him, and this idiot, he always filmed himself screwing, smoking, and stuff. He always carried that around. Okay, he always filming himself doing all that activity. If you gotta go to the restroom, run on in there, man. So here's the thing: Mike's gonna run to the restroom. He'll be back, and he'll be all right. But here's the deal: I'm gonna finish up without him. So we know that Hunter Biden filmed himself, and you can go online and watch him with the whores smoking crack. And there's one video he's weighing up crack rocks on a scale, and he gets into an argument about the crack rock with one of his whores. It's insane. This is white trash nigger shit. And y'all voted for this because while he's not the president, he's directly tied to him, and he's in business with him doing all this fraudulent stuff, and his father was completely aware of this. But his father condoned this, allowed this to go on, and even protected him because Biden, as I explained to you, was the tip of the spear as far as getting all this money. Hunter Biden is the tip of the spear as far as getting all this money for the Biden crime family, led by the daddy Joe Biden, and then you have the brother Jim Biden also involved. And Tony Bobulinski revealed a lot of this information in his interviews, but they suppressed it and ignored it. Go and Google Tony Bobulinski, watch his interviews talking about Hunter Biden, Jim Biden, and Joe Biden, and the big guy is Joe Biden. Go online, watch the videos of Hunter smoking crack. His daddy was completely aware of that. Go online and watch the videos of Hunter in these hotel rooms with these hookers and with crack laid out on the table, cocaine and stuff. Go watch it. Don't be scared to see that you made a mistake. in supporting the Biden family. Also, Jim Biden, when confronted by Tony Bobulinski about, hey, your brother might run for president again. How are you going to deal with these accusations that are going to come up about everything that I've just described here? And when Tony Bobulinski asked Jim Biden this, Jim Biden said, hey, we're just going to use exercise plausible deniability. Let me tell you people something. Jim Biden, by saying that they were just going to exercise plausible deniability, he was saying that, hey, we know we did it, but as long as we deny it, nobody will never believe us. Believe people when they say that we did these things. So we'll just repeatedly exercise plausible deniability, and the media won't really grasp onto it, and it'll go away. This is basically what he's saying because he knows how this whole scheme works. The Clintons, white trash, white niggers. The Clintons, when they vacated the White House, they stole items from the White House and then sold it for money. The Clintons started the Clinton Foundation, and it is documented, and the Haitians will even tell you, when the hurricane hit, the Clinton Foundation went there saying they were going to raise money for the Haitians. They raised millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. The Haitians never got the money. The Haitians never got the money from the Clinton Foundation, but that money went into the pockets of Bill, Hillary, and their little dirty daughter at the expense of the Haitians. So what did they do? They exploited the blacks. They exploited the Haitians. And then they turn around and tell you black people in the election of 2016 how they're so pro-black, how they're so all about you and have your best interests at heart and mind, and you fell for it because you did no investigating, you didn't look into it, you didn't listen to the Haitians. The Haitians were all over the internet trying to warn y'all, trying to tell y'all, don't fool with these Clintons. They're dirty devils. They exploit black people. They exploit Haitians. They exploited the hurricane and the destruction that took place in Haiti. And they took all these millions of dollars that the Clinton Foundation raised, claiming they were going to rebuild Haiti and look out for the Haitians' best interests. And you people voted for these people. They used it as their personal slush fund. The Clinton Foundation and all the millions that they raised, lying, claiming that they were going to help the Haitians. And Obama, real quick, I'm going to touch on him, but I hear so many black people going around talking about, oh, Obama's administration was a clean administration. There was no scandals. There was a ton of scandals. But of course, you're going to think there's no scandals when the media doesn't report on it. I'm going to touch on something real quick. Fast and Furious, and this isn't the only scandal. There's other scandals. I'm going to touch on Fast and Furious, and that's the the gun running scandal that the Obama administration and Eric Holder participated in, where they distributed as many as 2,000 guns across the border to the Mexican cartels, and those guns ended up, and these are the same guns that you liberals say you want to get rid of. Those guns ended up killing Brian Terry, who was a U.S. border agent, as well as many other people on both sides of the border in America and Mexico. That's a hell of a scandal when you send these guns into Mexico and all these Mexicans and Americans and an American border agent are dying as a result of this gun running that the Obama administration and Eric Holder was doing, and y'all say he didn't have no scandals. You're full of crap. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the Exodus Media Network. Feel free to contribute via Cash App, PayPal. You see it going across the bottom of the screen. I appreciate everybody that tunes in. What the most important thing is that you disseminate this, share it. All of you college students, I need you to share this with all of your friends, wherever they may be, whatever campus they may be on, with your mom, your dad, your aunts, your uncles. Just disseminate this, share it, share it, share it, share it. Hit the send button. Send this to everybody and tell them to forward it and send it to everybody, because we have to educate the electorate and we have to save America. And the only way we're going to do it is with your help. That is the action that you can take if you want to help us save America. Thank you.